India and Greece share a close relationship. With me is the Greek ambassador to India. So welcome to WION. My first question to you is, how do you characterize the relationship between India and your country?
As I have many times repeated it, I believe that India and Greece are natural allies. Are natural allies for many reasons and by many means. For instance, and this is very important, they are natural allies because of history. Because I bought a book about the complete history of India, and I started reading it. And you know, the first 100 pages, they were about the interactions between Greeks and Indians in ancient times. It was surprising to me. But there are natural allies in general because they have a very beautiful common feature. That is that both countries are peaceful countries, that they strive for peace, for global security, and for global development, and they respect international law.
Any areas where India and Greece are working together? Any specific sectors where both countries are working together?
Okay, in the first place, we work together and very closely in international diplomacy, let's say, because I guess in all particular interesting and important issues in the national politics, we are aligned. We have almost the same point of view. Besides that, we work very closely in culture and everything that is relative to culture. And besides that, we are striving now to broaden our trade, our bilateral relations in trade and economy. Tourism as well is a very important issue because now Greece has become recently a very interesting destination for many Indians, but India as well is becoming a destination for Greek tourism. And in particular, in maritime trade, we have a very good relationship because, as you probably know, 1/5, 20% of the global trade by sea is carried out, is conducted by the Greek merchant fleet. There is a strong cooperation with Greek companies. I would say in all fields and domains we have very good cooperation.
So, how do you see India's engagement with the Mediterranean countries? We saw the EM visiting your country. He has traveled to Cyprus as well. India provided support after the earthquake in Turkey. So, how do you see India as a country reaching out to Mediterranean?
Listen, the Indo-Pacific area and the Mediterranean area have always been very close connected. You know, in the past, the Mediterranean area was considered as very important because it was the way to India. Now this works in both ways because still Mediterranean is the way to India, but on the other hand, Mediterranean is the gateway for India to the European continent. And I hope that Greece has become the gateway for India, for the European Union. So the engagement of India and the interest of India regarding Mediterranean are very natural, very well acceptable, taking into account that India is a peaceful country that respects and promotes international law. And we very much appreciate their support in issues like the cyber issue.
You mentioned India can see Greece as a gateway to Europe. One of the key issues India and Europe have been engaging on is the free trade agreement.
Yes.
What's your view on the India-EU free trade agreement?
Okay. The free trade agreement is a very important issue for India, I believe, because I know that India has the ambition, and I think that it will be able to realize, to make truth this ambition, to become in a few decades the third biggest economy of the world globally. And I believe that this cannot become a positive outcome if there are no free and unhindered, let's say, trade relations with the European Union. So the free trade agreement is a prerequisite for that, is absolutely necessary. Then there is another question: what kind of a free trade agreement? Because recently I have been in a discussion between European and India's officials about this issue, and there was, let's say, problematic and questioning, open questioning. It is like a brainstorming. There are, let's say, two approaches. The one is to have, as soon as possible, a free trade agreement, even if there will be some weak points on this. And the other approach is that it's better to give some time, to take some time to conclude the free trade agreement, but then to have a complete and encompassing trade agreement without any weak points. If you ask my personal opinion, I would say that probably the second approach, it seems to me that it's better. That it's better to give a little bit more time, but to have then something that it will be very, very satisfying for both sides.
So India is the chair of the G20. How do you see India's presidency of this grouping?
Okay. I think India's presidency is very much important because probably it's the first time that the global south has such a strong voice, and in a way India has become the voice of global south. And this is very much important because nothing from what are the ambitions of the global ambitions for the next decades and the next generation as well cannot be obtained without the active participation of global south, especially when it comes to issues like sustainable growth, climate change, green transition, but also global development. So I think that it was symbolic but essential at the same time, the way that India deals with its presidency in G20.
So my last question to you, in fact second last question,
yes.
Is on the convergences India and Greece has when it comes to issues like the Cyprus issue, issues
yes.
like the UNSC reform. If
yes.
you can elaborate on that.
Yes, of course. In the first place, I must say that we very highly appreciate the principal position that India takes as regards the Cyprus issue, always respecting the international law and the UN resolutions. And we are sure that India will keep staying in this line that we appreciate very much. As regards UN reform, on many occasions, Greek foreign ministers have expressed their opinion that, given that the life changes, the world changes, and everything evolves, so an institution like UN must also have continuous improvement in the way it functions. And so we are for the UN reform, and of course we support the enlargement of the Security Council, and of course we support the participation in this enlarged new Security Council of the most populous country on the earth, that is India. It goes without saying.
So NATO expansion, what's your view about countries in the Nordic who want to become member of this grouping, this alliance?
Okay, we support it without any hesitation, and we believe that it must occur as soon as possible.
So my additional question on India-Greek relationship.
Yes.
We have seen the Greek foreign minister visiting India. We have
yes.
seen the Indian External Affairs Minister traveling to your country. Can we expect a high-level visit between the two countries at the level of leadership?
Yes, I hope that this will become a fact in the next year or the next 2 years.
Okay, sir.
I hope very much. I will be glad.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to WION. It was a pleasure speaking to you, sir. With video journalist Chandrasekhar, Sidhant Sibal for WION in New Delhi.